this is Christine with CricketsCreativeCorner.com, and I'm going to show you how to work with some watercolor pencils and the watercolor paper. So we're going to be using the Blended Seasons stamp set. We're going to be using this big flower right here, and You're the Friend Everyone Wishes They Had sentiment. So we're going to put that to the side. And then we're going to be using the black Memento ink. And here are my stamp sets ready to go. I'm going to put those to the side for just a minute. And then here's the watercolor pencils. They come in a pack just like this, and there's several different colors. All the colors that are in there right here. Put that to the side. I don't need those right now because I've already got my colors picked out. I've got Old Olive, and I think this one is Bermuda Bay, and this one is Calypso Coral. And then here is our water aqua painter, and you just put some water in it to fill it up. It's a little bit full. It's not all the way full right now. And they come in two packs of two. One's got a smaller tip on it, and the other one has a larger tip on it. Okay, and I'll show you what to do with that in just a minute. And then here's the watercolor paper that we're going to be using. It's kind of like a cream colored paper. And I've got one cut out already. Let me put this up here out of the view so it doesn't distract us. Let me find my one that I had. Here we go. And here's the piece that I have. I've got it cut at 3 3/4 by 5. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to move these over. Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and take the sentiment and ink it up with the Memento Black. And I'm going to go ahead and put the sentiment on the top. And here we go. Put it right here at the top right corner. And we'll just put it right there. Let it soak into that watercolor paper for a second. And there we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this away for a minute. We don't need that right now. And now the next thing we're gonna do is I'm just gonna get a scratch piece of paper here, and I'm gonna use that to get our watercolor pencils ready to color on the watercolor paper. So actually the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get this wet on the other side. It helps keep, let me get this clean off real quick. It helps keep the paper from bending too much. So just get a little bit of water on there, and let me get a little bit more. Just spread it around. It'll keep the paper from bending quite so much whenever you do put water on the other side. Okay, so now we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna start with the Bermuda Bay. I'm gonna put these up here at the top. And the way you get started with a watercolor pencil is, let me get in a little bit closer, is you're going to take a piece of paper and you're just going to kind of draw on here just to get a flat edge, and then you're going to go ahead and put it on your paper. So I'm going to just start here kind of in the middle. I'm going to go kind of light because I don't want it super dark. You can push down a little harder and make it a little darker if you'd like. But I'm just going to kind of sporadically go along these lines here, just kind of up in here. Okay, and then I'm gonna get my Calypso Coral. I'm gonna do the same thing, get it ready, and I'm gonna put a little bit over here, this corner. Hopefully you can see that. Get a little bit of the Calypso Coral there. I'll put a little bit down here. Make it not too dark. I don't want it to be too dark. And let's see, I'm gonna put just a little bit over here in this corner just because I want to. So you can do whatever you want to with this. Excuse me. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing with the green, the Old Olive. Get it flattened out, and then I'm gonna go through here and just do a little bit of, just really lightly color some green, and over here just a little bit. I don't want it to be super dark. Maybe over here a little bit. Hopefully you'll understand what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it this way. All right, and I'm gonna do a little bit of green up in here. Again, really light. You don't want to push too hard. Put a little bit over here, maybe a little bit in this corner. Okay, so we've got it all marked up the way we want. Okay, so I'm gonna put this away, and I'm gonna bring in just a piece of paper towel here. Don't need that just yet. And I've got my watercolor pencil, aqua painter, and we're gonna go ahead and get started on making this really pretty. So let me get this a little closer for you. Maybe you can see a little bit better, maybe. All right, so I'm gonna just get a little bit, I don't want it to be super wet, but you're gonna kind of squeeze it just a little bit to get a little wet, and then I'm just gonna start going over. I don't want it too wet. Start going over, I want it to be super light, kind of drag it around. Okay, got the green over there, kind of going. We're gonna do a little bit of the green down here, just super light. Try not to make any hard edges if we can. Kind of get it dried off a little bit more, so I don't want it to be too wet. So that's pretty good. All right, there's a little bit of green right up here. Go ahead and kind of fan it out just a little bit. I barely have any water coming out. I haven't squeezed it much or anything to get that water. It's just from the brush being a little wet. All right, so we're gonna do that. Kind of maybe add a little bit more water, kind of get these out a little bit, not so much harsh edges. That's what I like. Okay. There's a little bit more green right down in here. Just squeeze, just barely squeeze anything out. If you want it to come out a little bit and give it a little bit of wetness there. Let's see. All right, and then I'm gonna come down here. Oh, there's a little bit more green right here. Let me get this one going here. Kind of blend it in with that one. Gotta watch not to get too much of the other color in there. We don't want it to be blended in together. Kind of do circular motions maybe, so you can get those all nice and smeared around, I guess you could say. I'm gonna come back over here and get this green. I don't want it to be a lot of rough edges like I said earlier. Okay, so now we're gonna start with this Eclipse of Coral color. Just do a real light squeeze on the water. Blend it in. Get some of that. There we go. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit over here. Very faint color, so you don't have to, when you're using your markers, you don't have to go really dark on your watercolor pencils, not your markers. Okay, and then the last color is the Bermuda Bay. Just kind of blend it in. I've kind of been squeezing a little bit harder on the water. I don't want to do that really. And I just kind of keep going until I'm comfortable with what it looks like. Make it blend. Don't want any hard edges. Okay, so there we go. There's that. So instead of letting this dry, waiting for this to dry, I'm going to show you one that I've already done, but I did not put the sentiment on there, so we're going to do that again. So what you could do is just let that sit aside and dry. All right, and here's the one that I did earlier. Okay, and now we're going to do the sentiments again, so I don't need this anymore. This is a super quick card once you get the watercolors done. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and get the sentiment back on there again. You can go either way. All right, either before or after you do your coloring. There we go. Go ahead and put that on there. Let that sit for a minute. Let that ink get absorbed into the watercolor paper. All right, and then I'm going to take this one, the large flower, get my Memento again. Go ahead and ink this up really well. Here we go. All right, got that done. Put that away, and we're going to flip it over, and we're going to put it right there in the middle. I'm going to kind of turn it just a little bit, like right here. Okay, so I'm going to push down, make sure it gets all the ink there where I want it. And that's why I like these red rubber stamps, is that they're a little bit more smushy, so you can kind of move it around a little bit, like push it down really well. Okay, there we go. And there's your little watercolor. Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. I like it. And we're not done yet. So we're going to take I've got some Pool Party cardstock, and I cut it down to 5.5 by 8.5. So we're going to go ahead and fold this in half and create our card. So let's see. Go ahead and do that. There we go. All right, that's nice and crisp. So we're going to flip it over right here, and then I'm going to take this and we're going to take our snail adhesive, put it on all 4 edges. Here we go. All right, I'm going to put one down the middle. Okay. We're going to put it right in the middle of the card, and I left about 1/2 inch all the way around the card just to give it a little dimension so you can actually see that Pool Party cardstock in the back. Okay, and then we're going to take some of our Pearl Basic Jewels. Here we go. And I'm going to get my paper piercer. We're going to use this. And then we're going to be almost done. Let's see. Let's use the big ones. Let me get that. Oops. Done. Here we go. Put it right there in the middle of the flower. Just want to make sure this is nice and dry before you do that, because then they won't stick. All right, and get the next one right here. Super pretty. And then right here. Okay, there we go. So there is your beautiful watercolor paper card using the watercolor pencils. Here's the ones that we used, and your aqua painter. So there you go, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.